Alright, what's going on guys, it's Rez and welcome to another video. In this one, I want to go over another in-game Arc 3.0 Warlock build. In my opinion, they are definitely the weakest class compared to the Hunter and Titan, so I'm doing everything in my power to make them as strong as they can be. If you ever have a situation where you need to run Arc or when this gets buffed in the future, I think this build is going to be a go-to. The problem with Arc 3.0 is that their supers are just not as good as the other two supers, and also what made them really good in the past, the Titans and Hunters just have access to now. But even with all that aside, I think this build is still really strong and I think you all are going to enjoy it. All right, so jump right into it. First things first, we need to go over our exotic. We're going to be running various barrel. I have made a video about this in the past with Arc 3.0, but this one's going to be specifically more so catered to a very good in-game build, more so than just a fun build. So this has the exotic perk, the fourth magic. Weapon final blows with a damage type matching your subclass energy grants death rows, which provides a grenade damage bonus and grants you grenade energy. When you have death rows and throw a grenade, nearby allies gain greatly increased regeneration for a short time. So this exotic does a lot. You get a bunch of kills with it. It can stack up to 5 times and you're going to get 50% more grenade damage. On top of that, if you throw your grenades, you're also going to give your teammates grenade regeneration. This is going to be very good for buffing your Arc 3.0 Titan so they can throw more storm grenades constantly, and you're also in the fight throwing grenades as well. Overall, this is one of the best exotics in the game for Warlock, since it also is going to buff your grenade damage and you can kind of play into the heart of most light build like the Titan has. Now, weaponry is a huge part of this build since you need to pair a specific elemental type with Verity's Brow. And for that, I'm going to be running Tarnished Metal. This scout rifle is one of the best scout rifles in the game. I would highly recommend crafting this if you can and get Demo and Volt Shot on it. Demolition is going to give you more grenade energy when you get kills with the weapon, and then Volt Shot's also going to jolt enemies and basically clear an entire room with just one bullet. Since getting a kill that matches your subclass type with the exotic is going to give you grenade energy back and damage, Demolitionist is also going to give you even more grenade energy when you get kills with the weapon. So they synergize extremely well and it gives you a lot of grenades. And the cherry on top of this is that Volt Shot actually counts as weapon damage, so it will in tandem proc Demolitionist if your jolt is killing enemies as well as the gun. Now for other weaponry, I would recommend just taking exotics that do have intrinsic champion mods on it, so you can definitely take this into in-game. Bastion has Unstoppable, Arbalest has anti-barrier. You can obviously swap these out with whatever you want to. And then for heavy, obviously taking linear fusion rifles are the best. I would highly recommend Type N just because it is very easy and it does do a lot of damage. If you want to take something like Storm Chaser and play into Defiant Might with this, you can, but I would just recommend running Type N because you want to spam grenades as much as possible. Now getting into the subclass, I am going to recommend taking Arc Soul. This is going to be very good for keeping your rifts up. This is going to be really good for your survivability because a lot of issues with Arc 3.0 is the survivability aspect, since they don't have access to things like Restoration or Devour or damage resistance with things like Stasis. They kind of are just on their own. They do have some fragments to help, which we will be taking, but this is going to let you get your rift back faster, give you your Arc Soul to help you shoot enemies, which actually does do a decent amount of damage and will pair extremely well with one of our mods that I actually made a video on yesterday if you guys did not see that. And I'm also going to be running Electrostatic Mod, so every time I kill an enemy with an Arc ability or an enemy that is jolted or blinded, I'm going to create an Onyx Trace, and Onyx Traces will also make me amplify, because that means your Arc Soul is going to shoot faster and in tandem do a lot more damage. Now for grenades, since this is a grenade focused build, I do recommend taking Pulse Grenades. Storm Grenades are very good, but they are pretty much king on the Titan, so I like to play on Pulse Grenades because I think these are relatively better. Pair it with Verity's Brow for ad clear, and they're overall going to do a little bit more damage since they do last longer than Storm Grenades on the Warlock. You can run whatever melee you want to. I like Chain Lightning though because it jolts enemies everywhere and has a lower cooldown than Ball Lightning, and Chaos Reach because Chaos Reach is by far the superior super to Storm Trance, but even with that, Chaos Reach isn't the greatest, but it is a little bit better. Now for fragments, I do like to run Spark of Resistance, so while surrounded by combatants, I am more resistant to incoming damage. This is going to help out with the survivability of the build as well, because you're going to just take reduced damage since you're going to be close to enemies pretty much at all points in the game. I also run Spark of Shock, so my Arc Grenades can jolt targets. Jolt is very, very strong. Pairing this with your Volt Shot weapon, which is going to jolt enemies. Now your grenades are also going to jolt enemies, and even your Arc Souls are going to jolt enemies, which again I will get to later when we get into the mods. You're just going to be jolting entire battlefields and killing a lot of adds. Now since we're going to be doing that, I'm taking Spark of Ions, so whenever I defeat a jolted target, I'm going to create an Onyx Trace. Onyx Trace is going to be very good for getting your ability energy back, your rifts, your grenades, even your melee. It's all going to be very, very nice. Then finally, Spark of Magnitude, so my Arc Grenades last longer. Specifically, my Pulse Grenade is going to last longer and be able to do more damage and jolt more enemies. So that's pretty much it for the subclass weaponry and my exotic choice. If we get into the mods, it's going to amplify the build even stronger. And first things first, we need to go over Elemental Ordnance. So this is going to make it whenever I defeat a combatant with a grenade, it's going to spawn a elemental well that matches my subclass type. Since I'm going to be throwing grenades a lot, I am going to be spawning elemental wells everywhere. Elemental wells are a crucial part of the build, and it's going to play into a lot of what else we're taking. So having the ability to consistently make these is going to be very, very nice. On top of that, if you don't know, elemental wells will actually give you ability energy as well, on top of playing into other mods. Now, I personally also like to run seeking wells, just so that elemental well I create will track me. It makes the gameplay loop a little bit easier. If you want to run over to the elemental well, you can, but having your wells and ionic traces tracked to you to give you ability energy back is always going to be nice, and it's going to let you throw grenades faster even more. Now, I also like to run bountiful wells. So this is basically going to make your elemental mods that cause you to spawn elemental wells stack, but if you only have one, it will actually just give you an additional one, because I think the way the game works, it counts as this being an elemental ordnance in a way, or whatever other mods you have socketed in. So instead of creating one arc elemental well with elemental ordnance, you will now just create two, which is very, very nice. I will also be taking elemental charge. So whenever I pick up those wells, not only am I getting energy back, I'm also going to become charged light. And since it does match my subclass type, I will be getting 2 stacks of charged light instead of 1. Then finally, if you watch my other video the other day as well, I'm going to be taking heal thyself. So while charged light, if I get grenade final blows, I'm going to heal myself, consuming 1 stack of charged light. Again, the survivability with Arc 3.0 is definitely its lowest thing it has. So I'm trying to play into that and make it very, very tanky. And this mod can do that. It is not as strong as things like Devour or Restoration, but it is very good if you're going to be spamming grenades everywhere. And since you're always going to be charged light, since when you get kills with your grenade, you make elemental wells, you're going to get charged light with those elemental wells. And since the grenade kills heal you, you're also getting kills to spawn the elemental well, and it's just a constant loop of healing and infinite grenades. Now, speaking of survivability, I would recommend taking 100 resilience. This plus Spark of Magnitude on top of Heal Thyself and some other mods we're going to get into in a second. It is going to be very, very nice for your survivability. 100 Discipline is also the way to go, so you can get as many grenades as possible. This is going to stack with all your other grenade cooldowns you're going to be getting, and you can throw even more. Now, speaking of grenade cooldowns, the other mods I like to take are things like Lightning Strikes twice. So after throwing an Arc Grenade, I'm going to gain increased recharge rate for a short time. Then Arc Final Blows is going to extend the duration of the benefit, and since I'm mainly having an Arc primary weapon alongside throwing infinite Arc Grenades, you're always going to have Lightning Strikes twice up 24/7. If you remember, Verity's Route also is going to give you grenade cooldown rate when you get Arc kills with your weapon, but on top of that, you're also going to be able to keep Lightning Strikes twice up 24/7, and they're going to stack extremely well together with the 100 Discipline and your Demolitionist weapon, and you're going to be able to just throw grenades everywhere. Now, the other mod that you saw is Bat Amplitude. So whenever I damage a champion with an Arc ability, it's going to cause that champion to become jolted. This is actually very good, obviously not for your grenades, since grenades are already going to jolt targets, but for your Arc Soul. Arc Soul technically counts as an ability. It's going to create ionic traces for you. On top of that, it will work with Bad Amplitude, and you will make champions jolted. So if you ever come across a lot of champions, you can throw your healing rift down, not only for survivability, but on top of that, you're going to jolt enemies with that Arc Soul, and you don't have to waste a grenade cooldown. That's going to do extra damage to the champions. On top of that, kill every adds that are around them. It's very, very nice. For 1 energy, I would highly recommend taking it. For other mods, I do like to run Harmonic Siphon, so whenever I get rapid kills with a weapon that matches my subclass type, since I'm already playing into that with Verity's Brow, I'm going to spawn Orbs of Power. Orbs of Power are going to be very nice, because when I pick them up, recuperation, I'm going to replenish health. This again helps with the survivability of the build. It plays into another aspect of it, and there are multiple different routes to keep yourself alive when you're playing Arc 3.0. Then finally, I do have Linear Fusion Ammo Finders, Linear Fusion Scavengers, just so I can have as much ammo as possible with my Linear Fusion weapons. If you can't get an Artifice piece of armor, I would recommend running double Thermoshock plating with something like the Concussive Dampener. This is going to be very good, again, for your survivability and tankiness of the build. But even if you don't have this, just running a Thermoshock plating with whatever other mod you need in here is going to be very, very nice as well. Also, since this is an in-game build, I would highly recommend taking champion mods. I do just have a Scout Rifle Loader and Anti-Barrier Scout on right now for my Tarnished Metal, but you can 100% swap these out to whatever you need. You don't have to run Scout Rifle Loader. I just like to have it for ease of use, and if I'm doing something like a raid, you don't really need that many champion mods other than Unstoppable currently in the current season, but you can swap these out to whatever you need. But overall, that is the build. All you're going to do is get kills with your Tarnished Metal to proc Demolitionist and Volt Shot. You're going to then proc Verity's Brow. You're going to keep Lightning Strikes twice up. You're going to be jolting targets everywhere. You're going to be healing yourself every time you get grenade kills. You're getting ability energy every time you get grenade kills. Your Arc Souls can create jolt. Your grenades can create jolt. And it's just an infinite chain of grenades, infinite jolting everywhere. You're supplying your teammates not only with Arc Souls, healing rifts, and grenade energy. You're also on top of that going to be giving them a lot of elemental wells for their abilities as well. It's a support slash damage based build, and with all the multiple routes of healing yourself and taking reduced damage, you can be very tanky in-game content. It's just that the Chaos Reach Super is not as good as other supers, and that's kind of what drags the build down. Overall, I do think if they buff Arc 3.0 Warlocks in the future, this will be the build you see a lot of people run, and I would highly recommend you all give it a shot right now in the current state of the game. And if you want to give it a shot, I actually will have a dim link to this build in the description below. And if you do try it out and enjoy it, or even if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or following any of my socials, I will have a link to those as well in the description. But I just want you to know that watching this video is way more than enough. Every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. But thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.